Hello everyone, it's Nick, and before we begin, apologies for lateness. Just got busy with life, so sorry I couldn't get this out sooner, but here it is now. My video on the Milwaukee Bucks winning the championship and how they proved us wrong. And also, I gotta give D-Flow Hoops a shout out for actually predicting that the Bucks would win this series before the series began. I should have listened to you, but hey, at least I didn't confidently pick the Suns to win the series. But alright, here we go. For much of the season, it looked like the Bucks would be an early playoff exit once again. They looked like a team that didn't have the basketball IQ to win a championship. They weren't as dominant in the regular season as the last two seasons. When Giannis signed the Supermax before the season, many people thought it was a mistake. Many people, including myself, thought that he will never win in Milwaukee. And this looked very true for much of the season, and guess what? He won a championship with the team that drafted him, and here's what he had to say about it.
Well, could you imagine it happening for you the way that it's happened?
No. Man, I couldn't live. You know, there was a job that had to be finished. You know, I feel like the bubble did not pay us justice. You know, we give credit to Miami Heat. They played great, but it did not pay us justice. Like, everybody was feeling homesick. We're a family-oriented team. We wanted to see our families, but you know, coming back, I was like, this is my city. You know, they trust me. They believed in me. They believed in us. Even when we were lost, the city still was like on our side. And you know, obviously, I wanted to get the job done. You know, but that's my stubborn side. Like, it's easy to go somewhere and go and win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. I could go. I don't want to put anybody in the spot, but I could go to a super team and, you know, just do my part and win a championship. Still won. But this is the hard way to do it, and this is the way I chose to do it. And we did it. Fucking did it. We did it, man.
Jim on the front right.
That's right. Say it louder for the people in the back. But before we go any further, if you could please like the video, that'd be much appreciated. Helps get it out to more people. And if you could please subscribe for more sports content from me, that'd be much appreciated, as I'm on the road to 1,000 subscribers. And also, if you could please hit that notification bell, that'd be much appreciated as well, so you don't miss any of my future uploads. So, as I said, he won with the team that drafted him. And when he was drafted, he was just a really skinny, raw prospect from Greece. When he got drafted, this is what I had to say. And I didn't even know who he was yet. And it turned out he was actually the third player taken in that draft that I'm older than. The first two being Otto Porter Jr. and Nerlens Noel. But I know I posted that when Giannis was drafted. Oh, and you know what else? I said towards the end of my last video that the Bucks need to shoot better from the free throw line. It was mostly Giannis missing all those free throws for the Bucks. And guess what? Giannis made 17 out of 19 free throws. We may not expect him to do that more often going forward, but that's fine. He shot 89% from the line when it mattered the most. And to top it all off, he's the first player to ever put up 50 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 blocks in an NBA Finals game, and the first to close out a Finals series with a 50-point game since Bob Pettit in 1958. Giannis is also the third player in NBA history to win Finals MVP, the MVP, and a Defensive Player of the Year, the other two being Hakeem Olajuwon and Michael Jordan. Although, if Finals MVP existed before 1969 and if Defensive Player of the Year existed before 1983, then of course Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain would be in that company as well. And Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain would definitely have won at least 5 or 6 Defensive Player of the Year awards if it existed back in their day. Even if Giannis never wins a championship ever again for the rest of his career, how he won this one is something that he has earned my respect for as long as I'm alive. And for he and Thanasis to be hawking watches in their youth, to now both of them and Kostas being part of championship teams the last 2 years, and Giannis putting on a historic performance to finish the job in Game 6, and also when he was questionable to play going into this series because he got hurt in the conference finals. I don't know how you can't root for that. And while Giannis has improved by picking his spots better, not charging to the basket so recklessly and using a Euro step and a spin move, even using a jump hook and a right-legged fadeaway from 10 feet in, aside from shooting, well, he may not ever need to be a good shooter, but what I think he should do this offseason to really elevate his game is hit up Hakeem Olajuwon and work on his post game more. But I also gotta talk about everyone else on the Bucks. So first off, I want to say kudos to the front office for bringing in Jrue Holiday, and a lot of people thought that was really risky, giving up all those first round picks, but oh no, it was totally worth it. It was a trade that had to be made. Of course, giving up all those draft picks can be risky, but you obviously couldn't have denied even back then that Jrue Holiday would be a significant upgrade from Eric Bledsoe. Sometimes you really just have to take some risks to get to the next level and also to keep your star player in town, and the Bucks did take a risk by giving up those draft picks. It paid off. I also want to talk about PJ Tucker. Hey, PJ Tucker, I see you. Live it up, champ. That was a really good move that the Bucks made mid-season. Yeah, he didn't score much at all for them, but he's without a question a better player than what his stats would indicate because of his defense, willingness to guard the other team's best player, and we know about how much he loves that corner three. Fun fact, you've probably seen it if you're on social media enough. He beat the entire 2018 Rockets starting five in this run, outside of himself obviously, or Ryan Anderson if you want to count him since he started 50 games that year, Trevor Ariza in the first round, James Harden in the second round, Clint Capella in the conference finals, and Chris Paul in the finals. Oh, and I also got to show love to Bobby Portis. He is an unsung hero for the Milwaukee Bucks. He single-handedly outplayed the entire Suns bench in Game 6, scoring 16 points, and throughout this series he's been a very solid 3-and-D guy off the bench for the Bucks and has filled in very nicely while Brook Lopez's minutes has been limited. Mike Budenholzer, a guy many including myself thought he's not a championship coach. I never thought of him as the worst coach in the NBA, you've heard me say that too, but he proved us wrong about him not being a championship coach. He finally made adjustments. See what making adjustments can do for you? And I forgot to mention this in my last video. Kenny Beecham said it in his Call Game episode, how Budenholzer even ran a lineup of 3 big men, which they've never done all year. And that actually worked. He's also used Giannis more as a roll man more, and that was working. I said in my preseason predictions video that aged so poorly that if the Bucks don't make it to the finals this year, Mike Budenholzer's gotta go. Well, his job is very much secure now. There was a fan at the parade that doesn't agree though. Oh, and Cash Money Chris Middleton. Just one of many examples of how the Detroit Pistons became an incompetent franchise since the 2008-09 season. To be fair though, Chris Middleton was a second round pick, but man, the Pistons really pissed away making a golden second round pick. And yeah, Chris Middleton did spend time in the G League. He and Giannis were on the Bucks together when they were just 15 and 67 and had the second overall pick. And from those in my audience who are currently in their teens or younger, if that is any of you, you may not remember this, but I'm sure people like myself who are in their 20s or older do remember. Jabari Parker was supposed to be the next face of the franchise as he was the second overall pick that year. Unfortunately, he couldn't stay healthy and the Bucks ended up letting him walk after 4 seasons. But back to Chris Middleton. He's had his ups and downs in these playoffs. And in the previous playoff runs, he was thought of as not a legit number 2. He may be inconsistent, but he got it done this year on the biggest stage. The fact that people even talked about him having a case for finals MVP, something that the few of you who watched my last video know I do not agree with, but he definitely deserves credit for what he brought to the team this year on both ends of the floor. Hey, he did have a 40-point game in Game 4. Game 6, he wasn't hitting early on, but he made big shots down the stretch. I also have to shout out Pat Connaughton, another unsung hero for the Bucks. He has been a sniper for the Bucks, shooting 37% from 3 in the regular season, 39% for the entire playoff run, and 44% from 3 in the finals. And he's also been excellent on defense, forcing Devin Booker into some really tough shots. Connaughton was 0 for 4 in Game 6, but he was absolutely lights out in the other games, and even when shooting poorly, he's still playable because of his defense, and he still got 8 rebounds for the Bucks. Injured path or not, the Bucks deserve this championship. Let's not forget Giannis had an injury of his own, which I mentioned earlier, and yeah, most people, including myself, didn't expect him to play the first game, maybe even two. And not only did he play, he had a historic finals performance, and gotta clap it up for Giannis for that. So now we can go on to the Suns side of things, right? Well, DeAndre Ayton shrunk. The moment got to him. You could tell he was scared of Giannis. Devin Booker fell apart big time in Game 6. Just wow. For the guy that they're calling the next Kobe, okay, I won't act like 2004 never happened, but Devin Booker did fall apart nonetheless. But hey, he even agrees himself he shouldn't be compared to Kobe. And I do still stand by the fact that no, he's not the next Kobe, but yeah, I know before anyone says it that the 2004 finals did happen. With Booker and Ayton for much of this series, really. Yeah, the moment got to them, and this is something that can happen with young players. And Chris Paul, yeah, he choked again. No f***ing way that he is a top 5 point guard of all time. End of story. He's still top 10 at his position, but this was very much his best chance to win a championship, and he blew it. Maybe something that none of us are expecting happens next year, but I don't know. This seems like it was very much his best chance to win a championship. It looks like he probably will end his career ringless. I did say Bobby Portis single-handedly outplayed this whole Suns bench, but I also don't think Cam Payne was given enough playing time. He gave the Suns a big spark off the bench during the second quarter when the Suns just looked dead in the water. He only played 10 minutes and scored 10 points in those 10 minutes. I'm not sure why he didn't play him more. Monty Williams is still a very good coach, but I think some of his decisions were very questionable during this series. Cameron Johnson definitely didn't do his part off the bench, as he was just 1 for 5 with 3 points. Torrey Craig only played 1 minute, but hey, he got a ring even though he was on the Suns for the finals. He started the season with the Bucks, so yeah, congrats to Torrey Craig for winning a ring regardless. Where do the Suns go from here? I'll talk about that too in this video right here. So I'm no GM or agent, but I think Chris Paul picks up his player option. That might be the smart thing to do. If he opts out, I would not overpay to keep him. He's 36 now. Even while he is still a very good player, no, he's not as great as he used to be. I think that if the Lakers are healthy next year, this was definitely the Suns' best chance. Also, Lakers, please get rid of Andre Drummond. I don't even want him back on a minimum wage, okay? And I would say if the Clippers are healthy too, except Kawhi did recently have surgery on a partially torn ACL, so yeah, it's not looking good for the Clippers. And you know that I'm not one of those Laker fans that just wants to beat a dead horse about how the Lakers are a much more storied franchise, and that I give the Clippers credit when it's due. But with Kawhi's injury situation, yeah, I don't think that the Clippers have a lot of room for optimism at the moment about making a run for a championship. Of course, I do expect them to make the playoffs after what they did with Paul George leading the way, but championship, yeah, that's definitely not going to happen without Kawhi. And I only see Devin Booker getting better, if anything, after this. This should be a learning experience for him. And people talking about how playing in the Olympics may take a toll on him, well, he's only 24 years old. LeBron and MJ won gold medals after winning championships while older than Devin Booker is right now. And then they went on to win the next year. Kobe won a gold medal after reaching the finals in 2008 and then went on to win back-to-back and turned 30 the summer he won his first gold medal. Also, Devin Booker had a good 4 months of an off-season going into this season, unlike the Lakers and Heat, so I expect him to be just fine after these Olympics. I also only see DeAndre Ayton getting better. Even Mikal Bridges, he was a top 10 pick in the draft. I don't see him being a superstar when he's still a role player at 24, but I don't know about him just being what he is now for the rest of his prime. I do see him getting better, but maybe not that drastically. We'll see, but I don't think Mikal Bridges is taking any steps backwards unless he gets injured. So I do still think that the Suns should be competitive after this season, but to get back to the finals, we'll have to wait and see. But as of now, I wouldn't say they were favorites to make it back. But once again, congratulations to the Milwaukee Bucks and their fans. Kudos to them for proving a lot of us wrong. And I know the parade just happened. Everything I just recorded was the previous day, and the parade happened while I was asleep. So I'm gonna hope for the best and expect the worst with COVID cases being on the rise again, because there is no way a good amount of those people who were there are vaccinated. Even those who are, yeah, they might still get sick. Yeah, the chances are low, but I wouldn't be surprised. But if you're a Bucks fan still celebrating, yeah, still celebrate. Have your fun, but also please be safe, alright? And just hope that at least as many of you as possible can celebrate responsibly, even though, of course, there are going to be the reckless ones. That'll do it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you made it this far and you're still not subscribed, I'm not sure what you're doing, because you must have enjoyed my video, right? And also feel free to comment if you think that the Bucks can do it again next year, or if you think that the Suns can make it back next year, or if you think that next year is very much the Lakers or Nets finals to lose, or even if you have someone else winning next year. Well, we'll have to see what happens in the offseason. But alright, that's it for now. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.